ఓం శ్రీ గురుభ్యో నమః. హరి ఓం. శ్రుతిస్మృతిపురాణానామాలయం కరుణాలయం నమామి భగవత్పాదశంకరం లోకశంకరం. రూపం దృశ్యం లోచనం దృక్ తద్దృశ్యం దృక్తుమానసం దృశ్యాధివృత్తయః సాక్షి దృగేవ నతు దృశ్యతే. So this is the viveka, the discrimination. So in Vedanta we use the word jnanam. We call it jnana yoga. Yoga is a means to reach the truth. That is the yoga. Now you want to substitute the word truth with God, you are welcome. But satyam, God is the truth. Satyam jnanam anantam brahma. That is the definition of God. The truth is the God. And then what is the truth? What is the definition of truth? Yat sat tadeva satyam. What is the truth. These are from fundamentals, So what is, jo hai, so satya hai. What is the truth. So what is Brahman, and what you make out is the world. Okay? So that the truth is the Brahman. And jnanam, so knowledge. Knowledge of what? So generally we assume knowledge is knowledge of Atma or Brahman. Brahman is also called Atma, okay? It is the same. So if you know the Brahman, knowledge knowledge of the Brahman means you know the Brahman. Something like knowledge of the pot. You know the pot. Very big thing, you know the pot. Similarly, you know the Brahman. Then Brahman becomes the other. The other, itara. Itara Sanskrit, other English. Look at that. Very close, So Brahma becomes the other. Therefore limited. Other means you measure. So Brahma becomes the measurable. That which you measure. But Brahma is fundamentally defined as the immeasurable, anantam. Satyam jnanam anantam Brahma, immeasurable it is. So you cannot make a measurable out of the Brahman. Therefore you cannot make it the other. Therefore the expression jnanam, knowledge of, whatever comes after of is the object. That kind of an expression is invalid. In the context of Brahman, it is invalid. It is valid in every other case, but not in the context of Brahman, which is Atma. Then what to do with this word jnana now? Because the word jnana is used, even Sri Krishna uses it in Gita. Jnana yogena sankhyanam, karma yogena yoginam. So what is the jnana there? You have to look at the bhashya. Without bhashya, Gita doesn't make sense, and you are likely to make a mistake. And if you have bhashya before you, you are about to make a mistake, Bhashyakara will hold your hand, does not allow you to make the mistake, and puts you on the right track. It is as if physically it is happening. That is how it works. Therefore there Bhashyakara points out that the word jnana in jnana yoga is viveka jnanam. That is the jnanam. So the knowledge of discrimination. It is not knowledge of the Brahman, whereby the Brahman becomes an object of knowing. No, not that. It is knowledge of discrimination. Same thing applies to Atma also. So Atma Jnanam means knowledge of what is not Atma. That is the discrimination. So you discriminate between self and the non-self. So here the self is the drik. The knowing element is the self. And drisya, Everything else is the known. That is then you have to make a discrimination or distinction between the two. That is the meaning of jnanam. So jnanam is always viveka jnanam. It's not that there is a big border like Brahman somewhere, something is there, and one day the Guru Maharaj will show it to you. You are all waiting for that. Not, you are all means not you, generally I said. So that is not how the jnanam happens, okay? So jnanam is always now, and it is always discriminatory or discerning knowledge. Therefore, drisya vivekam is same as vivekaha is same as drisya viveka jnanam. What is this viveka? You should know the word viveka. It comes from the root vichir. Vichir, in vichir, ir will go, which remains. And that which undergoes a little modification and becomes vivekaha. Okay? So what is this which? Vichir, which? Pruthak bhave, to separate two things, which are mixed up. If they are physical things, they are mixed. Physical things, they are mixed. So you have to separate them. Such a separation, there is an example for it. It is called tila tandula vivekaha. Tila, the sesame seeds, and the tandula is the rice grains, which are white, the seeds are black, both are mixed up. So now you have to separate the rice, white rice from the black seeds, and the black seeds from the white rice. Is it right? Is it so? No, it is not so. It is enough to separate the white rice from the black seeds. You need not separate, after separating the white grain from the black seeds, then you have to separate the black seeds from the white rice. It is not necessary. Okay? So Atma and Atma also works the same way. That's why I said like that. Right? Therefore it is called tela tandula vivekaha. Okay? It is a physical thing. Two physical objects got mixed. We don't say mixed up, we say mixed. There is another example, which is given by the poets. Only poets should know what it is. We just listen to it and just nod our head and move forward. That is nerakshera vivekaha. There used to be a bird called hamsaha, a swan, which can discriminate or separate the water from the milk. This applies only in India, because only in India they adulterate milk with water. It doesn't apply in America, and also in Europe it doesn't apply. So only when India it applies, because they adulterate milk with water. Traditionally from the childhood we were looking at it. Please don't mind. What I said has nothing to do with patriotism, okay? So that is a different thing. So we understand it. When somebody says, or the books says, a swan can separate milk from water. Oh, that is nice. We understand it. What is this swan? We don't know. If you go to Manasa Sarovar, you don't find any swans there. But when you read Kalidasa while sitting in Hyderabad, so there is a description of swans in Manasa Sarovar. But by the time you go there, you don't find. So it is said, it is a poetic convention. And all the Swamis are called Hamsas. Look at that. Like Hamsa can separate water from milk from the water. Similarly, the Swamis can separate the real from the unreal. I wish it is true. Okay? So, that is the viveka. Nerakshera vivekaha. That's why the wise people are compared with the swan. Ramakrishna Paramahamsaha. That is how they say. That is the idea. So that is also physical. Nerakshera vivekaha. It is also physical. You see, when physical things, two things get mixed, there is a need to separate them. Otherwise, sometimes it can hurt. It can really hurt. So, people get hurt by lack of discrimination. I give you an example. A person got some infection of the eyes called conjunctivitis, infection of the eyes. It is there in the society and he caught it. Then he got some stomach pain because he ate some very heavy food somewhere. And so he went to the doctor. There is only one physician in the village. He, from dentistry to the podology, he is the doctor for everything. Okay? So he went to the doctor. In those days, doctors used to give the medicines in the form of liquid, and you have to consume with a small lid. With that itself you have to consume, or whatever way. And therefore he gave a small portion of a liquid for the tummy in one bottle, labeled A for tummy. And then in another small bottle, B for eyes. He gave another small liquid. This man came home. And that ice liquid he put into the mouth, and the tummy liquid he put into the eyes. These are the samsaris. Perfect example for a samsari. Perfect example. When I say these illustrations, I feel what an illustration it is. It applies all the way to the samsaris. Because the samsaris are confused all the way. Totally confused a lot. And so now, instead of working on the confusion, they start working on planets and stars. You are a confused guy. What will you do with planets and stars? They are doing all right. You have to work on your confusion, not on planets and stars. Who told you that planets and stars are connected with you, or they will disturb you? They won't. Only your confusion disturbs you. So you are confused and further confused that something else is causing you problem. First you are confused, then again confused, double confusion. So you have to come out of it, you have to practice viveka. And now in the case of a human being, the viveka that we are talking about here, I gave examples, but the real viveka we are talking about is drig, drisya, viveka. So you examine your experience. You examine. You have to look within. You have to become antarmukha. That then only this viveka will move forward. You see, people look elsewhere for truth or for solution to their problems. Somebody is searching for truth, somebody else is searching for happiness, and someone is searching for the end of his problems. Some problems, some conflicts, in the family conflicts, so many other problems are there. Life is not easy for anybody. And so people are searching for some solution. So all are searching, but they are looking elsewhere. That is the confusion. They are looking elsewhere. So elsewhere means where will you look? You look at the world of things, of physical things. Therefore, we go after physical things which are made of hand-made physical things. Hand means machine also included, okay? So physical things, the gadgets, the latest smartphones, etc. We are going after them hoping that they will give us happiness. Or there is truth in them, whatever. Or they will resolve our conflicts to the spouse. So people, they are looking elsewhere. Or look at another man. Another person will resolve your conflicts for you. Or he will give truth to you on a platter. And you are ready to receive it. What a confused lot people are. So they are always looking elsewhere, either in the physical things or in another person, give some name to that person, call him Maharaj, this or that, whatever name you give to it. You are looking for the Maharaj to resolve your conflicts and to hand over the truth or the God on the platter to you. And you see, the world works this way. When the follower is ready, a leader springs up. That is the law. Like Newton's law of gravitation, this is the law, as precise as any physical law. When the followers are ready, the leader springs up. Leader comes up. That is the law of nature. And therefore somebody emerges as the leader. And now you are looking up to the leader to hand over the truth to you or to solve your conflicts. People are like that. They are looking elsewhere. Or they are looking towards God. So three things they are looking elsewhere. Towards the physical things, things made of hand, towards another person or persons, or towards God. All in vain. All, without any hesitation I can tell you, all in vain. Because you must begin with yourself. In yourself. That is where you should begin. This is called antarmukha. So looking for truth or the reality or the God or solution for the problems of life or happiness, so many things are there we are looking for. And so looking elsewhere is in vain. You have to look, you have to begin with yourself, in yourself. This is the inexorable law. This is the law, Vedantic law. So, first, to look within yourself, all you have to do is stop searching outside. This is the viveka. How? Stop searching outside what can be found only within. That is the law. It can be found only within, and you are searching for it in the outside. I'll give you many examples, very simple examples. Happiness, we are searching for it in the outside. Happiness, a donut cannot have happiness. It can only have calories, not happiness. So, like that, donuts are very enjoyable, and so I am very happy about donuts, but I don't have anything against the donuts. I welcome them, but you be aware that they have a lot of calories. Also, be conscious of that, and they do not and cannot give you happiness. So the point I am trying to make is, what you can find only within you, how can you search for it outside? So that is the absence of viveka. And therefore, we have to set the vision right before you move forward. That you have to set your vision right before you operate. Because people are suffering from acute misapprehension. Therefore, they have to set their vision right. They have to clarify their mind. Very important. Clarify the mind. Purify the heart. Clarify the mind is different from purify the heart. Clarify the mind means all kinds of beliefs and superstitions are loaded into the mind. You have to clear the mind of all of that dross. Purify the heart means you should not entertain some of these emotions like hatred, jealousy, ill will, etc. Purify your heart and then sanctify your life. This is the viveka, 3 levels. Purify the mind and then clarify the mind, purify the heart, sanctify the law. Sanctify the life. So, this is the surest way and the quickest way to change your world. The world in which you live can be changed to a happy world. You can do that. This is the way. There is no other way. And this is the antarmukha. You have to begin with yourself. This entire process, what I described now, I am using the word process for want of a better word. It is an understanding, nothing more. It is called viveka or viveka jnanam. So this is the effort. This is the study. Rupam drishyam lochanam drik. So you see, in our experience, in the life, what is life? You define the life. Life is a series of experiences. We are endowed with a set of sense organs on the mind. They operate in tandem. Mind and sense organs, they operate in tandem. And of course, the organs of action also will be there. Ekadasha, 5 plus 5 plus 1. And so, mind and sense organs together, sometimes mind and organs of action together, they generate experience. They produce experience. And a series of experiences, an array of experiences is the day for us. We wake up and have a series of experiences, and the day concludes, go to bed and sleep. Sleep is an experience in which all experiences come to an end. It is also an experience. Okay? So there is a different thing. So this is how we live the experience. So the experience is now presented as of two kinds. So this experience, I experience. Two experiences. Idam anubhavaha, aham anubhavaha. Only two, no three, only two. Now, so idam is jagat, aham is myself. Now you have only two experiences, not three. You have only two. But one category is left out. The world is included in idam experience. World is accounted for as the idam experience, and myself accounted for as the aham experience. But what about God? Where will you put God? So now you have to decide that. If there is a third category of experience, we can put God in that. But there is no third category of experience. You look at yourself. In your life, all experiences fit into one or the other of these two categories only. So now you have to put God into one of these two categories. There is no other way. So what bhaktas do, the devotees, the dualists, they put God in the idam experience. And therefore, they are going to temples and shrines from one to the other, always call it pilgrimage or this and that. And so, the God is incorporated into the idam experience. Now, should you do that? I don't know. You decide. You think about it. God is put into idam experience. That is the bhakta people, the devotees. The nastikas, the atheists and agnostics, they don't have this issue. Because they are happy with their two experiences, aham versus idam. They are diametrically opposite. There cannot be any meeting point between aham and idam. Okay? So, the atheists and agnostics, they don't have a third category to account for. Therefore, they are quite comfortable with the two. But the devotees have to find a way out. So, they conveniently put God in the idam experience. That's why you come across all kinds of claims that I have seen God. God appeared to me in a dream. Therefore, idam, God has become idam. In the dream, I see the God, or I saw the God. Therefore, aham is there, and God is included in idam. You see, in India, most of the temples, some of the temples, quite a few of them, maybe 50%, are built by people who had dreams in which the God appears and tells them to make a temple for them, for the God. God asks the devotee, make a temple for me. Sometimes the God says, so I am getting drenched in the rain and becoming very hot during the daytime in the summer. So what is going on? Please make a shrine for me. That is what God says. And God also says, you people make shrines with bricks, steel and cement. That is not the way to make shrines. You make shrines with stone. That also God says. So many things are there in the society, in the belief system. These are all included. So please don't mind, okay? Keep an open mind. Or you don't like to examine these issues. Anyway, I leave it to your discretion. So what is said is already said. Therefore you include, the bhaktas include God in the idam experience. God is always experienced as idam. Then there are yoga people. They are also dualists. They are also dualists. They include God in the aham experience. God is within. That is how. That's why yoga people will always be thinking of samadhi and all that. And God appears in the samadhi, within. But still dualists. The bhakta people are also dualists. The yoga people are also dualists. Then where do Advaitis, Vedantins, the philosophers stand? They say God has to be included, they are with yoga people in a way. God has to be included in the aham experience only. Only they go one step further and say, aham brahmasmi. That is how they say. I gave you a scheme in which all shades of beliefs and efforts and pursuits are put in a perspective of viveka. But the entire description has one message. The message is the experience is only of two kinds. There is no third kind of experience, only of two kinds. Aham and idam. You experience as I and you experience as this. Now, having come to that point, now let us do the viveka between the two. Rupam drishyam lochanam drik. So we start with the eyesight. And then from the eyesight we go deeper, go within and arrive at the mind. And from the mind we go one step behind. It is antarmukha. You move backwards. You do not move forward. I told you, bhaktas move forward to meet God. Yoga people and the Vedanti people, they move backwards to meet God. In the yoga itself, there are two schools. Nirishvara yoga, also called Sankhya. They are atheists. They don't accept God. Therefore, they move inward, but only to meet the self, no God. Whereas the yoga people, that is the Patanjali yoga, they are called Seshvara Sankhya. They move inwards, right? But inwards, in the inward, they visualize aham as well as Ishvara. That is how it is an inward journey. So these are various shades of opinion in the schools of philosophy. Therefore, we have arrived at the two categories, aham and idam. And aham stands for drik, that which sees. And idam stands for drisya, that which is seen. Drik, drisya. Okay? Now let us do some viveka between the two, between drik and drisya. You see, drisya, the scene, is always limited, parichinna. Compared with the seeing element, the seer, let us say the seer, drik, provisionally let us say seer. So compared with the seer, the eyesight, that is the seer, compared with that, the seen, drishyam, is limited. Between the two, the seen is limited, parichinnaha, and the seer is unlimited. For example, I sit here and see the pot. Pot is limited. It occupies a measurable space, and it is limited in space as well as in time. But take space for the present, but the eyesight is not limited the way pot is limited. Okay? Pot occupies only this much space, where eyesight can cover up to nearly some 20-25 miles it can cover. That is how it is estimated. If you go to the beach and look at the ocean, and you see the horizon where the sky meets apparently the ocean, they don't meet. There is no need to meet. The entire sky is meeting the entire ocean. But it appears as if this dome-like sky, space, is meeting the ocean. And what could be the distance? That is the horizon, digantaha in Sanskrit. What could be the distance? It is estimated 25 miles, 20 or 25. Therefore, that is the range of the eyesight. Assuming that the eyes are in good form, that is the range. So see, we compare the pot versus the eyesight. Eyesight, within that example, pot is limited, whereas eyesight is not limited the way pot is limited. Okay? So aparichinna, you can say, not in an absolute sense of aparichinna, relatively it is aparichinna, that is the eyesight. And also the eyesight is distinct from the pot. It is called vivektaha. The viveka you have to make. It is distinct from the pot. You make this viveka. It is very important. If you hold on to this viveka, I told you it begins as a wave and it can take you to the Brahma if you allow it. This is the way to search for the truth. This is the way. So, therefore, the drisya, the scene, which is represented by idam, so the object of idam experience is always limited, whereas the seer, drik, is distinct and also not limited the way drisya is limited. That is one viveka. Then the idam is multiple, aneka, multiple. Okay, that's why when you make God multiple, that sounds very odd for a philosophical mind. Okay, you may be satisfied and you may be very comfortable with your multiplicity of gods, but for a philosophical mind, it is an enormous oddity, to say the least. So therefore you have a galaxy of gods, like we are all here, and so there are so many gods above, and then all our gods, they resemble us, just like we are the way we are shaped. Our gods are also shaped like us. This is called anthropomorphism. And also there is another name for it in sociology. It is called humanism. So the religious humanism means you make gods and goddesses. Why goddesses? Because we have gender, male, female gender. Therefore gods and goddesses, gender, the same gender, you transport there. And we resemble a particular form, we have a particular form. Therefore all gods and goddesses are also supposed to have a very similar form. For symbolic sake, you can take it, but very, very quickly we forget that it is symbolism and start taking things literally. In fact, it is said, literality is religion and spirituality is philosophy. So, therefore, you go on projecting the human shapes, and we get married, therefore gods also get married. And then sometimes we get married once in a lifetime, whereas we celebrate God's marriage almost daily or even daily. So like that it goes on. Then we celebrate our birthday, therefore God's birthdays are celebrated. We celebrate the birthdays of our sons and daughters, and therefore God's birthdays, God's also have sons and daughters, and their birthdays are also celebrated. If you are happy with all that, you are welcome to your multiplicity of gods and goddesses, but that sounds or looks very odd for a philosophical thinking. Therefore, so aneka, drishyam. So my point is, you cannot take this multiplicity into the category called God. You cannot do that. It is happening like that means you have to think about it. I am rather I am audacious in saying all these things, and with a kind of bravado I am saying all these things, hoping that you will understand in the right spirit. Okay? So, therefore, this is the characteristic of idam, namely, it is multiple, aneka, whereas aham, or the seer, is always eka, never aneka. Aham is never experienced as multiple. Never. Always one. You see, these are some of the very sublime concepts of philosophy. So, there is a French scientist philosopher called Schrödinger. He wrote a book, What is Life? Very beautiful book. In that he raises the question of consciousness. Consciousness is aham, And so he makes a statement. It is a philosophy as well as a physics. He says, consciousness is never experienced in multiplicity. I paraphrase it in my words. So, you never experience the consciousness, that is the aham, as multiple. Never. The body has multiple organs, true, but you do not, even in the context of identifying with the body, which is the wrong thing to do in the first place, even in that context, you never experience yourself as multiple. You always experience yourself as one without the second. You look at yourself. You are the advaitha, advaya. When you look at yourself and stay with that primordial experience, namely aham anubhava, the I sense. When you stay with the I sense and explore that I sense, you can clearly understand that the I sense is never multiple. It is always one without a second. It is advaya. Therefore, so much distinction between the drishyam and the drik. Drishyam is always multiple, whereas the drik is one without the second. Then, drishyam is jada. Drishyam is jada. And the drik is chetana. This is a 180-degree opposite situation it is. Diametrically opposite. What drishyam is, drik is exactly the opposite of that. Like east and west or north and south. So, drishyam is always jada, insentient, whereas drik is always chetana. In the temple context, you find a particular ritual in which the priest or the devotee or both, they enact a particular ritual of imparting consciousness to the idol. they are obliged to come out with such a ritual. Why do they need that ritual? You assume that God has a particular form, and you made an idol resembling that shape more or less. And so put it there and worship it as God. But they have a doubt in their own mind. The priest, not today's priest, but in the past. So the one who came out with this way of worship must have this lingering doubt. Namely, what I am worshipping is jada. It is insentient. How can you overlook that? It is not something to be overlooked. He cannot overlook. That is always at the back of the mind, lingering doubt. Oh, I am worshipping the jada, I am worshipping the jada. Therefore, to set that doubt at rest, that inconvenience at rest. So the priest came out with a ritual, which is the essence of that ritual is to induce the chaitanyam to the idol. Just like a non-magnetic iron piece, by putting a coil around it, copper coil, and pass electricity through the coil, then this electric circuit, electricity, will induce magnetism. This is called electromagnetism. Okay? Not the naturally occurring magnet, electromagnet. If you put the switch on, it becomes magnet. You put the switch off, it is not a magnet anymore. So a similar thing is done in the case of the idol, because to begin with it is insentient, and so you induce the sentiency in it. So that is how the priest comes out with a ritual. Because the distinction, I mentioned it to highlight the distinction between drisya and drik. So drisya is always jada, whereas drik is chetana. Drisya is inadequate. There are deficiencies in the drisya. The pot is not good, its color is not good, its shape is not good, its size is small. Like that you can come out with any number of inefficiencies or inadequacies in the pot, in the drisya. Whereas in that box of drik versus drisya, you do not experience any inadequacies in the drik. Suppose you watch a movie, you may conclude that the movie is not worth watching, it has many deficiencies. That is the conclusion. You do not put the deficiencies of the movie on yourself, right? Within that box, drisya is always inadequate, and drik is never inadequate. The very idea of inadequacy does not touch the drik. You have to do this viveka all the way. Then drisya is chanchala. It is very, very capricious or fickle. It changes, it breaks, anything can happen to it. It is not the same tomorrow, it will not be the same tomorrow as it is today. It is very fickle, the drisya. But the drik, within that box, the drik, the eyesight, is not fickle. So, you see, start with rupam drishyam lochanam drik. I have not taken yet the viveka to the atma level. I am explaining it only with reference to drik versus drishyam, the eyesight versus the objects and colors that you see. On and off I was connecting to the inner self also, but the discussion at this point is only limited to the eyesight versus what you see. This viveka, if you do it right, so you have to do it right. So there are three levels of viveka. You have to do it right intellectually, means your thinking must be right. It must have viveka in it, means you should be free from confusion. And then it should be right emotionally. Suppose you say, oh, very beautiful part, I love this part, the mom has given. If you start that kind of a thing, you are emotionally, you are not having viveka. Okay? That's why this memorabilia, this and that, these are all the hallmarks of a samsari, a worldly person. Vedantins are not emotional. They are not sentimental. And people give a sanctity to sentimentality out of their confusion only. There is no sanctity in sentimentality. And then the bhaktas, they are bhaktas in the world. So they take sentimentality as Atmajnanam. It is not. It is only sentimentality. They become sentimental and the eyes will start giving water. Eyes become red also, and the voice gets choked. All that sentimentality and emotionalism, one or the other, they take it as bhakti. There is no bhakti in it. They better consult a psychiatrist. Really. Bhakti is not like that. So, therefore, emotionally, the viveka, the drisya viveka, it must be there intellectually, means you should understand it. That understanding element has to be invoked to grasp the spirit of viveka. And then emotionally. So you should not create emotionalism to become an obstacle for viveka. So this is sacred, you say. This is another emotion. This cannot be sacred. It is drisya cannot be sacred. Drik is sacred. You don't even understand what is sacred. Drisya can never be sacred. The sacred is drik. You see, I am saying things which are revolutionary, and I hope you are willing to hear to such things. Just hear. Up to 4 o'clock, up to 5:30 only you hear. Afterwards I don't bother you. Okay, then you can think and do whatever you like. And then finally physical will follow. So at all levels there must be viveka. Suppose I talk of drisya viveka, drisya means jadam, multiple, unreal, this, and drik alone is real, I talk all of that. And then go out and take a photograph and look at my photograph like this. That cannot be the right way to do. Right? You don't appreciate it, I am sure. Therefore, the viveka must be intellectual, means understanding. That is what I mean by intellectual. And emotionally, means you do not start investing unnecessary emotions in the drisya. I will come to all of that. And then physically. So physical will follow automatically. So all this viveka you have to do. You see, from this viveka, one conclusion can be drawn. Before I proceed further, I draw one conclusion. Limitation means paricchinnata. Limitation as a quality or an attribute. Paricchinnata. And then bahutvam, multiplicity. And then bound by space. And then bound by time. These, I said 4 of them. Presently you take these 4. They apply to drisya alone. They do not apply to drik. So, drik is free from limitation, paricchinnata, multiplicity. That's why we say drik is always advaitha, one without the second. And then inadequacies or deficiencies are part and parcel of the drisya, never that of drik. And in fact it is said, paricchinnataiva drishyam. Anything which is a limitation is invariably part and parcel of drishyam. Never. I am looking at the entire hall. What all I see in this hall is limited. But my eyesight is not limited to this hall. If that wall is not there, my eyesight can capture what is behind that wall also in the absence of the wall. It can see the horizon, it can see the rising sun, the rising moon, it can see the planets and stars. If appropriate instruments are provided, it can see anything and everything. People can see up to the edge of the universe. People have to do the viveka. There was a scientist, I am not getting the name, he is the father of hydrodynamics. So, Pascal, that is the scientist, a philosopher also. He said, as a body, I am not even a speck in this creation. But as the mind, I examine the entire creation. Given appropriate instruments, I can see the atom and even subatomic particle I can assume with electron microscope, and I can see the planets and distant galaxies almost up to the edge of the universe with appropriate telescope. That is what I am. Just one step from the physical body to mind. And he stopped there. You see the leap, could you see the leap? Physical body is not even a speck in this universe, whereas the mind can objectify and study, assess, measure the entire universe. What a distinction between the two. Their mind is the seer. That is the glory of the mind. But suppose, start where Pascal has left and take one more step. That becomes philosophy, Vedanta. Where mind itself becomes the seer. Mind itself becomes the seen. That is coming in the driktu drishyam, tadrishyam driktu manasam. So drisya dhivrittayaha. It is coming. I will come to it in the next class. So mind itself becomes drisya. So the mind, which is the drik with reference to this entire universe, that mind becomes drisya to that reality. Now what name you give to that reality except God? What name you give to that reality? You have a better name than that? And what else can God be? If that is not the drik with reference to mind, if drik with reference to mind cannot be God, then what else can be God? This will go a long way if you pay attention and if you are willing to rise above the very deep-seated conditioning that people have. Therefore, this is the fundamental difference between drik and drishyam. Rupam drishyam lochanam drik. That is the first sentence. And the second verse is an explanation of that first sentence. And I have already anticipated most of what the second verse is going to say. Let us say the second verse. Nila peta sthula sukshma hrasvadirghadi bhedataha. That is one compound. The entire line is one compound. Nana vidhani rupani pashyelochaname kadha. So the Acharya is continuing with the viveka. I have anticipated and explained all of this to you. So he says the drishyam is rupa. Rupam drishyam. That is how the text begins. Rupam drishyam. Rupa is not one, many. Drik is one. Rupa is not one. Rupani. Nana vidhani rupani. So what is seen is not one, it is many. And it is always plural, multiple. And also variable. It is not the same. So the multiplicity of the same is one thing. Like all same kind of parts, 100 of them. It is not like that. It is not only multiple but also variegated. That is the combination. Multiple and variegated. Nana is multiple. Vidha is variety, variegated. There is a single word to cover both, multiple and variegated. It is called multifarious. That is nana vidhani rupani. The forms are multifarious. And he gives an example. The forms are of two kinds. One is the shape, a physical form, and the other is the color. So forms and colors. Color also included. Color is also rupam. Shape or form is also rupam. Okay? So for example, this is like a pot and it is black. So some color. And people, they assume the color is sacrosanct. It is real in itself, which it is not. So if you know some physics, if you ask a physicist, he will, till now it is not settled whether color is in the object or in the eyesight. It is not yet settled. Okay? Therefore, so people have to examine closely. So some colors, Nela, Peta. Nela is blue, Peta is green. Some colors, he gave some examples. So this is how the drishyam is. Then sthola sukshma. Sthola is big in size. Big means that is a relative big, you know. So big means not like a mountain. Mountain is big. Even a mosquito could be big compared with a smaller insect. Therefore, big and small, sukshma, etc. Harasva dirgha, short and long. So, adi, you can add a few more things to that. This is how the drishyam is. It is different from one another. Bheda, division. Bheda is a division. So division characterizes the drisya. And multiplicity characterizes the drisya, variety. That is the character of drisya. But the drik, the eyesight, lochanam, which sees all this multifarious drisya, that is ekadha. It is one. You see, I am a bit annoyed or exasperated with the attitude of the people. People want the Shastra to settle between Dvaita and Advaita. Shastra will settle. Or they want Guru Maharaj to settle between Dvaita and Advaita. Which one is superior? Dvaita superior, Advaita superior. Guru Maharaj has to settle. It depends upon the conditioning of the Guru Maharaj himself, you know. So, you should not hand over to outside. You have to settle in yourself. So, do I experience myself as multiple, unvariegated? You have to settle that. If, suppose the answer is yes, I experience myself sometimes happy and sometimes unhappy. That is variegated. I am experiencing myself as variegated. Good. You start that way. It is also coming, it will also come in this investigation. You start that way, nothing wrong. But then I will ask a question. Okay, I appreciate your statement that you experience yourself as different in different contexts. Once happy, again a different time unhappy you experience. That is there, the experience is there, it is valid. But then I ask you, just before becoming happy, how were you? Between happy and unhappy, how are you? There must be a gap, and in that gap, what are you? So, you are happy, and then suddenly you hear some telephone call came, you become unhappy. There is a gap between the happy and the unhappy, and so during that gap, what are you? Are you happy or unhappy? Neither. So you have to investigate further. You have to take the investigation further. As you investigate further, you rise above sukha dukkha, because sukha dukkha become drisya now. Therefore, this Hinduism is Hinduism. Okay, you got it? It is Hinduism, in-duism. So you have to do it. You cannot, you see, if some puja has to be done, you employ a priest and he will do it for you. But viveka, some other Guru Maharaj cannot do it for you. Or your colleague cannot do it for you. You have to do it yourself. So, this way, The rupas are many, limited. So all the disadvantages associated with drisya, which I have explained in detail, applies to rupa. So let us conclude the verse, the class with a message. The message is, from now on, you stop giving importance to rupa. Don't do that. It doesn't become students of Vedanta. Right? You are not supposed to give importance to rupa. Learn to put aside the rupa. You need not break the form or need not throw out of the window or any such thing. No violence is required. And so you be calm, quiet, just ignore the rupa. You love something which is beyond the rupa. When you do that, you have taken the first step in the direction of self-realization. Therefore, you should stop paying too much of importance to rupa. So, which only means, earlier I used to suggest, you are having a camera hanging from your shoulders, throw it into the dustbin. In India, I would have said, dustbin means somebody else will pick it up. In India, we have a different way of doing it. You can find a suyer and throw into it, so nobody will take it. And it will not be useful also. It is worth throwing, because take the spirit of it, not physically destroying it. Your commitment to the form is so high and so intense that at least I feel embarrassed that being students of Vedanta, how come they are so much wedded to the form? In a given context, if form is given some importance and then the context is over, you are done with the form, I can understand that also. But it is not like that. That is when you are about to marry a young lady, that I can understand. But whole life, form. A cup is also, you have a form, the cup should have this form. And so wall should have that form. And the table should have this form. What is this commitment to the form? That distracts the mind in the wrong direction. So you end up wedded to the form, which is unreal. And when the form disappears, people sit and cry. When the form disappears, that is considered as a calamity. How it is a calamity? The disintegration of a form, how it is a calamity? It is not a calamity. When a form disintegrates, I do not feel sad or unhappy. I feel neutral. And if the form, suppose if the person is suffering, and the form has disintegrated, it has come to an end, I feel good about it. You should celebrate, not grief-stricken. So people are getting grief-stricken for no reason, because they invest so much into that form, so much emotionalism into that form, because there is no proper investigation. So, rupam drishyam, lochanam drik, hold on to that expression and start seeing the form for what it is. It is unreal and multiple, variegated, insentient, and it is not the truth. It will be time-bound, space-bound, and limited, measurable, and therefore it is not the real. You don't want any more reason for that. All philosophy has come into it. And you decide, the drik, whether it is advaitha or advaitha, you settle for yourself. And so, drik is always one without the second. You take it, you see that in your own experience. Now you have reached the gates of philosophy which will open to you. We'll come back. Om Purnamada Purnamidam